Ever since I was younger, I was into video games.
Somebody like the fuse so I can bring bad news to all these crews who can't NBA jam with the shoes.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another stout review. We're like a well-oiled machine. We're just chugging along during stoutness. Hopefully tonight's beer is better than last night's beer. From Surly Brewing, this is the 2016 vintage. I do believe it's not on the label, because why would you put it on the label? That would make sense. Barrel-aged darkness. I think this is 2016, and I'm almost positive I reviewed the non-barrel-aged version of this last year during Stoutmas. So, yeah, it doesn't say a vintage anywhere. Makes zero sense. I have no idea why it wouldn't do that. It's so crazy. There's no, I don't think there's an ABV on here either. No vintage, no ABV. Fuck all of us who are wanting to drink this. Barrel-aged, brewed and bottled, Surly Brewing Company, Minneapolis and Brooklyn Center. It's got the guy with the art and his website, because that's a big deal. That's part of what's important here. Russian Imperial Stout, aged in rye whiskey barrels. Yep, no vintage, no ABV, nothing. I think this is like around 12%. Who knows? I messed with this wax and got this ready so you guys didn't have to see me fumble around with it on camera. We will be using, I don't know if this is like the proper shape for a glass you're supposed to drink a stout in, but this is the only Surly glassware I have, so we're using it. It says Wales bruh. This is from the Wart Rally, February 12th, 2017, American Homebrewers Association. Chase sent this to me, so thank you, sir. I don't think you watch videos anymore, but if you ever see this, thanks for the glass. I love it. So let's get into this one. I enjoyed the 2016 vintage of Darkness, and I can only imagine that the barrel-aged version will be even better. Give ourselves a healthy pour. It is a Friday night. Just got done with a little run. I really don't feel like drinking a stout right now. I'd rather be like chugging an IPA, but we're gonna stay committed to the stoutness game. So 2 fingers of a super creamy, like light brown head. That looks awesome. Really like marshmallowy, fluffy, creamy. There's some big bubbles in the middle, but looks like a big ass Russian Imperial Stout in the glass. As we were pouring it, I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but with the big bright light out here, it wasn't pitch black, but it looks fire. And that's really Wales bruh glassware. I think darkness kind of used to be a big deal. Don't know if it's a big deal anymore, but let's go ahead and shove our nose in this one, see what she's got. This smells like chocolate covered dark fruits, like figs and raisins. Already we're way ahead of the nose last night on the barrel aged Old Rasputin. This actually has like aroma to it. Like very much milk chocolate. I love that. Not quite to like that dark fudgy chocolate. I think there's a difference between like smelling a milk chocolate candy bar and smelling like a tray of like brownie batter. This doesn't have like that dark fudgy thing. It's got that awesome like milk chocolate. And tons of like just dark fruits. There's raisins, figs, like those just typical dark fruits that you smell in a stout. There's like a caramely sort of vanilla thing too. And even like almost goes towards like that molasses. What was the beer that we had with molasses? Was it Dark Star? It's got like that sweet kind of molassesy thing. I will say this is rye whiskey barrel aged. There's no spice from the rye whiskey. There's no bourbon heat. It just has this cool, I think the vanilla kind of molassesy thing that I'm smelling comes from that. But there's not like a barrel presence. There's no woodiness. There's no oakiness. There's no char to it. This is like a really awesome smelling, like chocolate forward, dark fruity, vanilla molassesy stout. I think that's about it. So, oh, by the way, this came from my buddy Barry. He sent me this and the 2016 regular darkness long time ago. I got this. It's 2018, 2 years ago. He sent this and told me to sit on them, so I did. So, sorry for that, not mentioning that at the beginning of this video. I don't even think Barry still watches these videos, but Barry, cheers, bro. Thank you, sir. I should also mention, like in all my videos, this was in the wine fridge. This is about 60 degrees right now, which is perfect stout temperature to be. And this is pretty freaking delicious. Although you aren't smelling any of the rye whiskey on the nose, it's definitely there in the finish. You get that whiskey bite, which I like in a barrel-aged beer. But the taste falls in the nose. Up front, it goes like that milk chocolate. Think of like a Hershey Kiss kind of milk chocolate. That's what that is at the front of your tongue. And as it goes across the middle of your tongue, it goes onto like there's this, it almost comes off as like a maple sweetness, but it's like I was smelling like that sugary kind of brown sugar, like desserty kind of a thing with dark fruits for days. And on the finish, you get into that. It's really, really dry, and it almost tastes, there's almost like a hoppy kind of like a hoppy bite that's on my tongue. But the milk chocolate right at the front of your tongue is awesome. I love chocolatey stouts. I say that in all my stout reviews. I love the dark fruits. It works well with that chocolate. And on the finish, you're getting that whiskey bite. There's a little bit of heat, not boozy heat, but just like, think of when you take a sip of, when I do anyways, when I take a sip of whiskey, it's that kind of biting heat that's on your tongue. And it just kind of sits there with this kind of cool hoppy thing. And it's such a dry finish. It kind of brings in that barrel sort of woody thing. It's not very like oaky or like barrel forward for me, but the finish of that is super dry. And I mentioned it last night, I think, maybe a couple nights ago. Like when you put a toothpick in your mouth on your tongue and you get like that kind of dry woody thing, it finishes like that. It's staying sweet on my tongue. I like that. It stays like with that sweetness from the dark fruits and the chocolate. This is a very, very tasty beer. I will say it's pretty thin on the mouthfeel, and I know a lot of people don't care about that, but when you're getting into the big 12, 13, whatever ABV this is, I kind of want it to be chewier. If this was chewier, it would be in that mind-blowing kind of a range. This is really, really good though. This beer kills barrel-aged Old Rasputin that we drank last night. I really, really dig this. Yeah, and that's about it. Very, very enjoyable beer, very tasty. I don't know like what barrel-aged darkness costs. I think this bottle was probably around $18 to $20, maybe more than that, $25. I'm pretty sure I paid $25 for that barrel-aged Old Rasputin. This beer kills that. I would gladly pay $24 or $25, whatever it is, for this beer rather than that beer. So this is a solid A beer for me. This is like 94, 95 right in there. I really, really dig this. I love the chocolatey parts of this beer. I like the dark fruits. And I love that whiskey that you get on the finish. Super, super good. And there's that interesting kind of hoppy thing. I think darkness is like a kind of a hoppy stout. I could be wrong. Someone can correct me on that. But I think that's what that is that I'm tasting on the finish. Awesome beer. Killer, killer stuff. So that's a 2016 vintage, we think, of Surly Barrel Aged Darkness. No vintage on the label, no ABV. We're totally reviewing this in the dark. I have no clue. So if you guys have had it, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Barry, thanks so much for sending that one, my friend. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys very soon. Cheers.
Ever since I was younger, I was into video games.
Somebody like the fuse so I can bring bad news to all these crews who can't